What's going on, everyone? We have some awesome setups in the market right now, and today was pretty exciting to say the least. We saw some stocks like Palantir absolutely rip to the upside by 30% after their earnings report, but we also saw some pretty crazy events, or moves I should say, like how Nvidia, and Tom, some people aren't going to believe this, but Nvidia was actually red today, and this is like one of the most rare things out of everything over the past year. So, just by looking at Nvidia, you could tell it was a day that was a little bit different than most days over the past couple months.
Yeah, definitely. And whenever I go and I look at the overall market today, it was super choppy overall. And we look at the SPY, there were opportunities to maybe play the SPY up if you would have been buying like right around the 492.10 support where there were three intraday bounces right there. But unless you were like playing a nice scalp move off of that or a nice rejection off of resistance, there wasn't really too much going on today. In the grand scheme of things, I did notice that a lot of the China stocks were doing pretty good, like NIO, BABA had a pretty good day, so it was good to see China stocks starting to come back a little bit too, and we've talked about those a lot over the past few weeks. So, Mike, whenever I go and I look at the market here, Palantir is a big stock that we got to keep our eyes on. It ran above $20 today. It continued up with that post-earnings move, and we hit on this one so much yesterday. Once it held 20 this morning, it just started exploding. So let's go Palantir, and I know a lot of people are going to be happy to see Palantir ripping up the way it is.
You know it, and as we always say, Tom, with earnings, don't feel the need to get in on earnings before the report because there is a boatload of opportunity after the report as well. Palantir call options today from open popped up by like 300% in some cases. So keep that in mind as we, go throughout the rest of the earnings week. And Tom, I saw you had it pulled up there for a second. What do we have lined up for the rest of the week? We have a lot of big ones.
Yeah, Palantir was nice here after reporting last night. This morning we had Spotify. Tonight we're going to have Snapchat, Enphase, and Ford. I noticed Snapchat was already selling off quite a bit, so we'll have to see how they end up tomorrow. But tomorrow before open we have BABA, and I know the China stocks were doing pretty big today. Uber was also popping off, and they are reporting tomorrow with CVS, PayPal, and Disney tomorrow night with ARM in after hours. So tomorrow is really, for me, the biggest day of the week for earnings, so be ready for that, guys. Wednesday night, PayPal, Disney, and ARM are going to be those big three for me. And then Thursday, we do have Affirm and Pinterest too. But man, Mike, tomorrow is a loaded, I would say, day between BABA, PayPal, Disney, and ARM. I mean, which one do I pick?
Right? And then you can't even underestimate the moves we saw today in after hours, like Snapchat. This stock got its face rearranged in after hours today as it fell by like 30%, and it's still going. So keep a close eye on this one for tomorrow. But I also really like how you pointed out like Alibaba and the Chinese stocks that are reporting before market open tomorrow, because if BABA has a great earnings report, that can shift a lot of things very quickly. So everyone, you make sure to keep a very close eye on Alibaba and like even Chinese ETFs like KWEB and FXI tomorrow before open, because when these stocks move, they really move, and the Chinese government is doing just about everything they can to get these stocks to start moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talks about them obviously starting to pump money into their economy and do a bunch of different strategies to try to prop up those markets. And whenever we go to China stocks, like let's just say BABA, we go out to a daily chart, it's still very, very low in the overall grand scheme of things. And whenever I see BABA down here, it's a bit of a higher low that's coming in too on the daily. So I really like these setups, Mike. BABA's actually starting to break resistance right around 77 to 78 as well. So that's even good. And we're just seeing so many good setups here out of these China plays. So keep your eyes on them, guys. And I know NIO had a great day. It was up like 12% overall, and it was its first green day in a long time. At least its first serious green day.
True that. And I guess just like looking at the overall market right now, the S&P 500 or SPY is still super close to its all-time highs. And when you look at the market, it seems like everything is A-okay, right? And things are just going good. But when you look at what's actually happening in the economy, and especially with consumers right now on a deeper level, it certainly is not all sunshine and rainbows. We can see that a new record was broken recently, and not in a good way. Credit card debt hits the $1.13 trillion milestone. And then what's even worse is not only is credit card debt at insane levels, but the credit card interest rates are also at insane levels. As we can see on the chart right here, back in March of 2022, the average credit card interest rate was around 14.5%. And since that point, it has shot up to like 21.5%, which again is a pretty big move pretty quickly.
Yeah, like what's going on there, Mike, with those interest rates? That is huge in the way that they ran up here on credit cards. I know that, rates have been going up in general on just about everything, but, to see the rates jump that quickly is definitely a big scare. And just to hear the fact that Americans are sitting at $1.13 trillion in credit card debt. That is a huge statistic. And I know that we've been looking at credit card debt over the years as we've been making these videos, and it's generally a pretty negative thing. Whenever credit card debt gets this high, it's showing, like it says here, there's a lot of pressure on consumers right now. And like they're even saying, some people who have student loan debt are now falling behind on payments, and it just seems like it's a rough time out there for most Americans, it seems like, Mike. And I know a lot of people out there might not necessarily feel the pressure, but just look at the price of everything. Like, you can't even go buy 2 steaks anymore without spending $50.
I know, and when you look at the stock market right now, it seems like a lot of those key indicators or key metrics that are tied to the economy are kind of just being ignored. But we'll see how this I guess you could say plays out throughout the rest of the year, because we are set for a whole lot of craziness for multiple reasons, especially with the upcoming elections. So that's very interesting. And I guess as you can talk about market craziness, how can you not talk about the volatility index, right? And I came across this interesting chart today that basically shows that during election years, the volatility index normally jumps up by like 25% ahead of the election, and then once the election happens, it ends up coming back down to earth. But basically what this is showing us is that, by us saying, hey, the market's going to be crazy this year, isn't just us saying that. Like, statistically speaking, the market really does get crazy, and the volatility expectations do inflate during times like this, and for good reason, obviously. But, either way, the main thing to know is that, the market is surely moving in some crazy ways right now, but it's only the beginning. Wait until you see what happens throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, as we get through the year, if VIX really does start rising like this, like in July, August, September, October, November, we're going to see a pretty rough close to the end of the year, I got a feeling, and I hope that that's not the case, and hopefully the market rises enough that whenever we do start pulling back, it's not going to be as violent of a drop, right? But considering how violent this uptrend has been, we might end up seeing a drop. I know I was getting lit up for that one yesterday, but yeah, I really am looking at the market here, and I'm like, wow, like we've been going up so quickly. We're going to probably have, like, whenever there is a pullback, it's probably going to be a pretty quick one. So I'm with you, Mike. I think that's a very interesting chart on VIX, and it does look like it starts in July. And guys, just keep in mind that every election year might not be the same. This one might start rising a little earlier or a little later, but it's definitely interesting still to see that. And going over to a VIX chart, Mike, on the daily, it's starting to fall back off again around those recent lows. It's almost a 13 even again. I would have liked to have seen it rise and get above 15, but then again, we might consolidate down here for a little while before it finally pops off. But when it does, that's when I think the real opportunity is going to be.
And for those of you who don't know, basically when the volatility index or VIX shoots higher, that means craziness is happening, right? And keep in mind that craziness is a good thing in terms of short-term trading, because when you see crazy moves, it a lot of times brings a lot of opportunity for like long-term buy the dip setups, but even in a more exciting way, it brings a whole lot of opportunities for short-term setups as well. So don't fear the craziness, look forward to it, as there are a lot of opportunities associated with it. But Tom, I think it's now about that time to get into some setups and predictions for tomorrow. One stock that I have some close eyes on is MU. So ticker symbol MU is a stock that has been doing pretty well over like the past couple months or so. and it's starting to show a little bit of weakness in the short term. As we said in the beginning of the video, today was so crazy that Nvidia was actually red, right? Most people can't believe that, but it goes hand in hand with other chip stocks like MU, and basically MU's pulling back. Some of the chip stocks are a little bit overextended, to say the least, and are starting to pull back a little bit, and that helps MU. So basically, I'm watching MU to the downside. I would love to see a break below $83.75. If it breaks below that with some good price action, again, I would like to play it to the downside.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. That was a lot of momentum to the downside there today, so I'll be watching for that breakdown below the level you listed at 83.75. And with my first play for tomorrow, I got to go with QQQ. I noticed there's a big channel going on with the QQQ over the past few days. There's a huge double top up right around 430, but even better, 430.25. So if we're able to break the upper end of this channel and break 430.25, I'll go ahead and look at calls. But then again, there were a lot of tech stocks that were weighing down on the market today, and I noticed there's a huge support on the QQQ. So I really like this for a few things here. If QQQ starts to break down under 425.30, then I'm going to go ahead and eye up puts to the downside on QQQ itself. Or you could even look at calls on SQQQ, which could end up going up in a pretty big way if the QQQ falls. So I do like this quite a bit, Mike. QQQ has a lot of, I would say, good price action going on. And when I say good price action, it means it's kind of boring the past couple days. But if we just wait for these breakouts of this channel, then that's where that opportunity will be.
All right, sounds good. Another stock that I'm watching pretty closely is KWEB, and it follows Chinese stocks. I know we've been talking a lot about these stocks lately, but for good reason, as the Chinese government is literally basically doing anything they can at this point to get their stock market to rise. And then, Tom, even yesterday we had an FXI big money play, which worked out perfectly so far. So either way, I'm watching KWEB, and you could even say FXI to the upside. They move together, generally speaking, but the key thing with this setup will be Alibaba's earnings and the sentiment with China stocks. Basically, if Alibaba earnings coming good and these types of stocks start moving to the upside, there's going to be a lot of momentum that follows these stocks, and there will be a lot of opportunity to ride that wave of momentum. At the same time, these stocks have been getting absolutely obliterated over the past couple years, so if earnings come in bad, then don't try and force this setup to the upside. It's basically like, if earnings come in good tomorrow and these stocks start moving up, then I like it as like a short-term directional trade to the upside.
Yeah, and I could see it being a pretty good opportunity, right? Like, these stocks are at very low levels. They're starting to bounce off support. Buyers are coming in. If those earnings go well, I would love to see BABA, Queb, FXI. I'd love to see those stocks start to rise tomorrow. So I'll definitely keep them on the radar. And I'm actually looking at a big support on this next stock, which is Pfizer. And Pfizer is actually bouncing off of a level that it's bounced at in 2014. If we go back to the daily chart and we zoom out, I have these red arrows drawn to all the key supports on Pfizer. Today, it had a great bounce up around 3.5%, and its average rise only 0.9%. So it has a strong negative correlation to SPY, which also makes me happy. If the SPY goes down, this one has a pretty good chance to just do whatever it wants and go up. So I'm going to watch Pfizer to the upside over the next few weeks. I like this support. It's a pretty big one, and today it had a pretty good move to the upside off of that. So I'll be watching it for nice continuations off of this, maybe to like the 29 to 30 level over the next couple to few weeks.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's get right into today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have American Airlines to the upside, which was just super consistent all day long.
Yeah, I really like this one at the $15 resistance. I think that's going to be huge there. So keep your eyes on American Airlines above $15. And why do I pick $15, you might ask? If we go over to Bookmap, there is a lot of sellers stacked up right there, and it's a whole dollar mark. So I'll be watching for that break of 15, and then I think we could ride more momentum up. But it's always good to have the Bookmap on your side whenever you're looking at resistance.
Yeah, basically looking at Bookmap, it tells you exactly where the buyers and sellers are at. If you haven't used it before, you're missing out. It's great. It's like X-ray vision for the stock market. And if you do want to try it out, check out that first link in the description in the comments down below, and you will save using our link. There are special offers attached using the link below. So feel free to check it out. It's pretty awesome. But on to the next play, Tom. We have Microsoft to the downside.
MSFT, big support down around 403. If it breaks that, look at it to the downside, and obviously be very careful as it approaches that $400 support.
Alrighty, and then with the last one, we have NEO for both directions.
NIO, great move by them today, up 12%. If they can break above $6.10 tomorrow, go ahead and eye up calls. They're nearing, getting pretty close to recent resistance, but if they end up breaking down back under 590, then look at puts.
All right, well, we have the downside level for NEO, and we have the upside level as well. Keep a close eye on this one. Don't forget about the downside level with Microsoft. And, of course, don't forget about the upside level with American Airlines. These three stocks are on watch tomorrow for momentum plays. Basically, they are only potential plays if they break the levels Tom listed. We are looking to see a strong break through the levels Tom listed, and then to capitalize off of the imbalance of buying and selling pressure. So keep a close eye on these three stocks for tomorrow. But Tom, we have another pretty big and interesting big money trade of the day. And today we are looking at ticker symbol BZ. So I bet a lot of people hear this ticker symbol and probably have never heard about it before, and I don't blame you at all. Basically, ticker symbol BZ is a Chinese company. Again, we keep talking about these stocks, but again, there's a lot going on in this area of the market right now. Basically, the big money bought the 15 strike call options for BZ that expire on March 15th of 2024. They put around 900 grand into these options. Like situations like this where the stock is not very popular is a good thing and a bad thing for big money trades, because, you know, lesser known companies like this are easier to be, I guess you could say, suspiciously traded, quote unquote, by the big money. And that's a good thing as long as you're on the right side of it. At the same time, though, companies like this can be a little bit, suspicious and definitely like high risk. So with everything being said, it's a very interesting setup. I think it has potential, but at the end of the day, it's a high risk, high reward setup. Just like a lot of these Chinese stocks are right now. They're at very depressed prices, which, you know, has some pros to them, but at the same time, there's also a decent amount of risk with these stocks. But either way, keep a close eye on this one going forward. A $900,000 trade with a strike price like this and an expiration like this one definitely isn't one you just want to ignore.
Mike, I got one serious question here. And, well, you know, it can be debated on if it's serious or not, but is the Chinese government paying us to promote these stocks?
Oh my, hell no. Hell
I'm just kidding, guys. I figured there'd be some people asking something like that. You know, they're putting money out there to prop up their markets. What are they doing? You know, they're hitting guys up on YouTube. But no, at the end of the day, Mike, it's cool to see these stocks moving. You know, there's a lot of nice momentum with them. I really like BABA, Queb, and I think just the overall Chinese ETFs like FXI a lot better than just BZ individually. So I think, like, if I was going to look at something, you know, in the Chinese market, I would probably go with FXI's play from yesterday. But it's interesting to just continue to see where the big money's flowing here, and to see more going into China stocks is a pretty big sign. So definitely going to keep BZ on the radar. But then again, like I said, I like Queb and FXI just as much, if not even more.
Exactly. So again, with these stocks, you know, they're very interesting. They definitely have more risk than your average stock out there. But then again, it's like, as we said multiple times, and you have a entire government desperately trying to do anything they can to get these stocks to rise. A lot of times it works. So we'll see what happens, but keep a close eye on these stocks over the next couple days and the next couple weeks. But, you know, Tom, looking at the market right now, we have a loaded earnings week still. The market's still very close to all-time highs. We're starting to see a couple of these high-flying stocks over the past couple of weeks start to pull back a little bit. So it definitely brings a pretty interesting dynamic. Do you have any thoughts heading into tomorrow or anything else you want to cover?
Yeah, that interesting dynamic is definitely big right now. Even AMD was down 3.6% today, guys. Like, there were some pretty big pullbacks out of a few of these tech stocks, and even Meta was down in the red. I can't believe it, right? Like, 1% on Meta. Nvidia was down too, so keep watching these stocks right here. If they keep falling in the short term, watch that channel on the QQQ. If that big support starts breaking around 425, we could see a bigger sell-off. So let's keep watching this into tomorrow, Mike. There's a lot of great opportunities out there, and keep your eyes on the volatility index and the ETFs that follow it, like UVXY and VXX. They could have some great opportunities over the next few days.
Sounds great. Well, yeah, like you said, there should be some pretty exciting moves, so stay disciplined, guys. Keep your heads up high no matter what. Keep those stop losses in place, and let's have a great week. Last but not least, I have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Cornish, who has been doing great lately. He made a post in the Profits channel today saying 2 for 2 on SM Bot, and he's been managing his risk pretty well, so huge shout out to Cornish. And I think Cornish is definitely up there with the person with the most member of the days. If I counted correctly, I think this is Cornish's 8th member of the day.
Wow, that is a huge number. Shout out to Cornish, 8th member of the day. That is pretty nuts, but hey, what a day. You know, good job on the SM Bot, 2 for 2, and keep up the great work, Cornish. I love having you as part of our community. And I'll say this, the Profits channel was awesome today. There were a ton of nice moves and a lot of great gains across the board. If you guys ever have any nice profits, feel free to throw them in there. You might just be member of the day.
Yeah, right? Let's go. So yeah, either way, thank you guys so much for watching. There's a lot of exciting things going on in the market right now, so it should be a pretty great rest of the week. But again, thanks for watching, and let's make the rest of the week a great one.